7. So yes, it's 7 o'clock now, and I will be good to go. I'm sure that as we continue, more people will join us. So good evening everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. I feel really honored that you chose to join this evening, and I really hope that you see it as a very good use of your, say, 30 minutes of your time. Definitely will not be more than 30 minutes. I really hope that you see it as a good use of 30 minutes of your time. And to say that this show will be a recurrent one, most likely, let's say 2 weekly, we would have, and we'll have this show. Okay, so the whole idea of the Women in Development talk show actually started because in the last, let me say, in the last 2 years, let me just be modest to say, in the last 2 years, on a daily basis, I hear people say, oh, I want to do this community impact project. Oh, I'm looking at a career in global development, global health. Oh, I want to go global. Oh, there's a need in my community that I see that I want to help. But then a lot of people don't really know how to go about this. It looks like the people that are doing the work are high up there, and the other people are down there. Like a lot of, especially young people, young professionals. I've seen doctors, I've seen even people who are not doctors say that, oh, I want to help my community. Some people say I want to help girls. Some people say I want to help boys. Some people say I want to do potable water. Some people say, oh, I mean, just a lot of things, especially in the era of these in the era of the SDGs. A lot of people want to do a lot of things, but the honest truth is that if you don't know how to do something, the idea is as good as nothing. The dream is as good as nothing if you don't know how to implement it. So it was with this idea, it was with this knowledge that I realized that, oh, okay, I think that the reason is because there's a gap between the people who are already doing this work and the people who are aspiring to do it. How about if we bridge the gap by giving people access to people who are already doing these things, people who are already in global development, who are doing fantastically in community impact, who are handling great projects, who are working for international organizations, making impact. How about if we bring them on, have them interact with people and talk to them? I mean, I believe that it's going to help a lot of people gain perspective. I believe that it's going to help a lot of people understand how and see that passion actually is not enough. You need a whole lot more to be able to do community impact work, to be able to do global development, to be able, especially in this Nigeria that we are in, that there are a lot of limitations and all of that. So it was with this thinking that the whole idea of the Women in Development talk show came about. And I'm sure that a lot of people will say, oh, women, if it is not women, it is girls. If it is not girls, it is children and all that. But then, to be honest, except if we don't want to be true to ourselves, in this society that we are in, women, girls, there's a lot of gender injustice, in quotes, that women suffer. In leadership, women are not well represented, and it's just gender norms are not favorable towards them. And so the whole idea is to showcase women who are doing great despite all of these limitations, despite all of these shortcomings, to inspire others, to inspire other young women, to inspire other young men, to inspire everybody, so that you know that regardless of all of these limitations, you can do what you actually dream of doing. Of course, I'm not the guest on this show, so I'm not going to tell you my story. I'll allow the guest, tell us what she's doing, what she has done and all that, and I'm sure that we'll be inspired. And then I'm also sure that through this show, you'll probably be able to understand how this whole community impacts, community projects, global development, and all of these things work, and see where exactly you fit in and how you can bring your dreams alive. So that's the whole idea. I've had my own fair share of the troubles, the challenges in this whole development sector and all of that. Trust me, I have, and I'm still having my own fair share of it. I've been privileged to work, to do a few things in that regards. But then I have an idea of how it can be. So today I have a guest, and I'm just going to bring her on right away. I've been talking about meet my guests. Okay, Chiamaka, we are waiting for you to join. I can see that you already joined. Okay, so yeah. Hi, Chiamaka. So good to see you. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. I'm sure you can hear me. Can you?
I can hear you, but I trust the Nigerian
Okay.
network. It's buffering sometimes.
I I know, I know, I know. A lot of people have been itching to hear you, to hear from you, and all of that. First of all, before I even ask you anything, I want to say thank you for agreeing to join in here today. And I'm sure that you have a whole lot of things. I'm sure that the 30 minutes that we have is definitely not sufficient for you to download all the stuff that you have for us. But you know, we just chat, we just interact. I'm really hoping that even after this show, we'll still have access to you. We'll be able to ask you questions and practically how things are done, because I know that you have been there, you've been doing a lot of things, you've been doing a lot of work in this community global development. And so we want to know how it started for you. We want to know what exactly you are doing. We want to know a lot of things. But then before we know all the big things, let's start from the small things. So can you tell us about, because I've heard a lot of people talk about how their background, how their upbringing, fueled what they are doing now and all that. So I don't know if that is true for you as well. Would you like to tell us about your background, how it started for you, where you grew up, and all of those things? So over to you.
Okay, interesting. Where I grew up. Okay, so I actually grew up in Port Harcourt, but yes, just as you said, I think my childhood also played a role in a lot of things. But I had a very good childhood. I wouldn't lie about it, right? But I had parents who were very focused in like pursuing knowledge, in doing your best academically. But I also have parents who prioritize guiding you as opposed to dictating what you should do. My parents never picked the course I was going to study when I decided what I wanted to do. They only tell you, okay, they only guide you, right? I always tell my friends or tell people that my father is actually the first feminist in my life. Even though, of course, I did not know what that meant at the time, right? Because he raised me to believe in myself and never be limited by my gender, which is a deviance from, of course, the society we live in. And you mentioned things around
Absolutely.
like uh, the way gender inequality is vast in our society. And of course, I would be uh, that actually played a role in like in my ideologies, in the way I see life, and even the way I view the society, and made me begin to question a lot of things, even as a child. I knew I had a classmate who had to drop out of school for her brother to get into school because she was the first child, but because of her brother got up to age to enter school, her parents could not afford for the two of them, and she had to drop out of secondary school. And so that made me begin to question things like, why? So are you trying to say one gender is more important than the other, and things like that? So I would say that my childhood actually, and also the books I read, I think as growing up also had a role um, in
Great.
how I, of
Thank
course,
you.
who I.
Oh, okay. So I see that. You mentioned books. So, I probably want to assume that you used to really read a lot. So, tell us about your education. What school did you attend, and what informed the course that you studied? Did you have these all global development, community impact at the back of your mind when you were entering into the tertiary institution and all of that?
Yes and no, right?
Okay.
Of course, as a child, actually, I had the dream of working in MSF, so Medicine Sans Frontier, which is basically Doctors Without Borders, right? And that was
Oh.
fueled by some books I read, and also the book I read about the Nigerian Civil War, and I think the role that they played in like the humanitarian role they played. So for me, that was it, right? So I had always had this idea of the development work. That's what I wanted to do. But I thought the only way to do that was, of course, Doctors Without Borders. I had to become a doctor to be able to do that. And so that was it for me, getting to med school and doing that. So I actually I got into med school. I went to Madonna
You
University.
did?
I got into, yes, but I soon realized that I didn't have the zeal to become a doctor. And that is okay, right? That is fine. I was not there, the zeal to become a doctor. I had to reevaluate, right? I reevaluated my social good dream and why. And luckily, you know, there's so much information, but at the same time, there's limited access to information. I had no idea of, I studied public health, BSc. I had no idea that such a course existed, such a thing existed. So for me, the only pathway for me to get to where I was the medical pathway. But I soon realized that it wasn't the only way, and I decided to change my specialty, and I switched to public health, and that was because I asked questions. I did like my own searching and all that, and that aligned more with the career goal, like the social good goal that I had. So I switched course, and I actually tell people that that is one of the best decisions I have made, like career-wise. Of course, the first decision I made, and yeah, so that actually is a little story about how I
Wow,
found myself.
interesting. Interesting. And I think you said something very, 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 very profound, that you don't have to be a doctor. I hear a lot of people say that, okay, in fact, to be a player in the health sector, you must be a doctor. And in fact, what you said just supports what I've always believed, that you really don't have to be. Yes, it's okay to be a doctor, it's good and all that, but if your goal, if your desire is to be a player in the health sector, you've seen a need that you want to meet, being a doctor is not the only pathway to doing that. And I think that is what you just said, which is very profound. Thank you for that. So let's talk about passion. You know, I've heard people say that passion is that thing that wakes you up, you know, and you're not able to sleep back until you do that thing, until you work on that thing. So for you, what would you call your passion? What would you call that thing that keeps you awake at night?
Passion. Now, passion is something that that can keep evolving, right? It's not cast in stone or something that you have to have figured out in life. It's something that just as our society changes, your ideas, or yes, of course, there's still that underlying thing that maybe wakes you up. But what wakes me up is hunger. Most times when I'm hungry, I get up. So I'm not talking about the passion. But I've always been, I try to live a life of service. So I think that is one of the things that wake me up. So making impact in my immediate society. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge platform. It can be as little as even maybe the estate you live in, where you go to school, within your own class. So I think that for me is just living a life of service. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. I think we have something in common. Hunger also wakes me up. So I think we are common in that regard. But then, so let's talk about the work you do, because we are very interested in that. So I have an idea of the work you do, but I'm sure that a lot of people want to know, what exactly do you do in terms of community impact, global development, and all that?
Okay, so most of the work I've done or I'm doing or have done in the past has actually revolved around maybe community engagement and advocacy, so both local and global advocacy. And it involves like
Okay, I think
around FGM. And I also try to, part of the work I also do is like engaging health workers and building partnerships. Now, I'm an advocate or a proponent for partnership because you can't do it alone, meaning that you have to work with people, whether it's government stakeholders, whether it's, so basically building partnerships with stakeholders to ensure, and areas I work in around maybe HIV and sexual and reproductive health, but I also do research, right? Research, conducting research around family planning, around sexual and reproductive health, around poverty, and issues of female genital mutilation in the country. So basically, most of the things I do is actually stemming from my interest in like social good and humanitarian services.
Okay, so if I got you right, most of the things you are doing or you have done presently are around doing community, working in the community for the good of the people in the community. I hear you talk about family planning, which is a very, very big tool to, you know, to help a lot of things in our community, especially talking about demographic dividends and all of that. So I see that you are doing a great work in that. But then how did you get there? See, this thing you are doing is what is the dream of a lot of people. So can you tell us how did you get there? Like, how did you find a path? How did you get those opportunities? I met you, the first time I met you was actually in Kigali when we went for the International Conference on for Family Planning in 2018. So these are opportunities that are not very, very available to everyone. Some people don't even know what ICFP is. Some people don't know what these conferences are. Some people don't know about, some people don't even know that there are opportunities to write abstracts, to attend conferences, to write grants. A lot of people don't know. So how did you get this information? How did you get on the path?
Okay, so my journey kind of started from NYSC, right? After, of course, I graduated from my tertiary education. I always tell people that there are no small roles, there are only small people. Sorry to say that, right? Because wherever you find yourself, try to make an impact or try to do something that, like, try to give your best, more like. So I started as a volunteer. I was volunteering as a peer educator, and with that, of course, I was getting experience and all that, and also in my place of where I was serving.
Sorry,
right?
Chiamaka, where did you volunteer? Where was that?
Okay, so I was a peer educator trainer, so it was part of my CDS, but I went beyond that to, for instance, the school I was doing peer education around the community. To source for maybe test kits or things like that, inviting them, try and write to the community members around there. So things like that, right? Even while I was still doing my NYSC. And I try to embed myself in what is going on in the organization, because the truth is, it's only when you show that you're willing or you're interested in this that people would bring you into the table. No one brings you to the table. That's the truth. So if it's only if you like take your own initiative and your own step and choose to be there. So I try to involve myself and ask questions. Okay, can I do this? And of course, can you do this? Also ensure that it's something that will improve your growth, your role. We know the society we live in, and they try to use young people in these organizations or for things that will not improve their career or improve their knowledge or things like that. So be strategic and be specific in what you ask, what you ask for, what you want to do. So that was it. And then after that, before that, of course, I started applying to organizations, and based on the work that I did as a result of like both in the organization and the little community work that I did, it somehow should, people want to see a trajectory. People want to see that you're committed to something. People want to see that even the little that you have, a little opportunity that you have, you're making the most of it. That's the truth. So with that, I was able to secure an internship with an international organization, right? I was able to secure an internship. It was just a one-year internship, but somehow that was what. And even at working at that, I started a blog where I talk about development issues. And so it's about your little space, try to give, try to contribute. More like taking and taking, you're also giving. So that's yeah, I don't know if I was able to answer your question.
Wow. So I'm going to ask you a very direct question now.
Okay.
So tell us about Active Voices.
Okay. What do you want to know about Active Voices? Active Voices started in 2016. And basically what the organization does is currently have 3 thematic areas, which is health and well-being,
You started
gender, and
Active Voices,
education.
yeah? You started Active Voices,
Yes.
yeah? Great.
Yes, in 2016. And of course, and the organization currently works under 3 thematic areas, health and well-being, education, and gender, right? And then for education, we focus mainly on girls' education. Of course, yeah, we focus mainly on girls' education. But currently, we're also working around expanding our thematic areas to also include leadership, women's access to leadership opportunities and leadership positions. So what should I tell you about the organization? So basically,
Okay, so let me tell you what I want you to tell me about the organization, which is the question that burns in the heart of a lot of people, especially people who have founded NGOs but are not really able to implement projects because there is no money. A lot of people want to do good things but no funds. So how do you get funds to do all of these beautiful things you do at Active Voices?
Okay, so first of all, like a lot of people want to, I think I remember I conversed with someone, don't always like, why do you want starting an organization, raising funds? It's not child's play. It's a lot of work. It involves a lot of like, you have to be updated on what is going on. We have to be updated on like emerging issues, on best practices, on strategies and all that. So in your own sphere, if you have the opportunity to work with another person, feel free. But if your passion, you've looked around and seen that, okay, this thing I want to do, no one is doing it at the moment, then yes, why not? You should be able to do that. And of course, one of the ways we achieve this is partnerships, right? We try to, just as you said, there is, of course, limited access to funding, especially for boarding organizations, for nascent organizations. There's limited access to funding. So what do? You leverage, you collaborate, you partner with other organizations to be able to maximize your impact. Of course, you have to also improve your own skills because you need to develop proposals, and what you write determines if you get the funding or not. So meaning that you also have to improve yourself, improve your writing skills. If possible, take courses on developing business proposals. So writing a grant proposal is just like developing a business proposal, just that one is for profit and the other is not for profit. But it's the same thing. So meaning that you have to improve your writing, what's it called? Improve yourself. Self-development is very important. If you're going to, how do I put it, grow in the development sector, irrespective of whether you're founding an organization or working in one. If you don't develop yourself, personally, you'll be stagnant because it's evolving. Things are changing. People would leave you behind. That's about it. So that's basically, we rely on like responding to calls for proposal. And when donors release call for proposal seeking for ideas, we submit, and then we hope that we get the project. So basically, we also like have a strategic plan that guides our thematic areas to help us in applying for such grants.
Great. So who are your mentors? Who do you look up to? Who are the people that guide you in this field?
You know, this is actually an aspect that I'm found wanting. I've never had a mentor, but that does not entail that I do not have indirect mentors, in the sense that, for instance, I look up to Michelle Obama. she can mentor me directly because I don't have the access to her.
Access
But
to her.
I look up to Kozi Konjewala, I look up to Obieze Kwesili. I adore Obieze Kwesili, right? But at the same time, so what do? I follow them on social media. I read their books. I try to keep up with conversations that are going on within their circle. And for me, that is at least enough for now. If tomorrow I get to be in meet Obi and ask her if she would mentor me, I would gladly do it. Actually, I've had an opportunity to meet her once, but you see, once you don't take advantage of an opportunity to pass you by, that's the truth. And I wish I did ask, but I did not. And that door is closed already, right? So, yeah. So that's it for me. I do not have a direct mentor at the moment.
Okay, now so a lot of people don't want to miss that opportunity. Now they are meeting you and they are asking, okay, we would like Chiamaka to mentor us. Do you do that? Do you mentor people?
Actually, in the spirit of giving back, I'm already affiliated with a global mentorship program. This
great.
Evolve Mentorship program is organized by Onye. Yeah, she's an amazing woman, and she provides like mentorship and across the, with of course with priority to Africa. And I'm already committing my time to that. But so meaning that I do not have really the time to mentor another person, but I'm not.
But is the platform open to people? Can people come in for mentorship on that platform?
Yes, it is. I think if you just go to their site, you can just Google Evolve Mentorship Program. You would
Evolve Mentorship Program. EVOVLE.
Yes,
Evolve Mentorship Program. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not currently open to like one-on-one mentorship, but in the coming year, I might be open to mentoring someone, maybe by next year, because I have a lot this year to work on. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. But I'm sure that a lot of people will check out the Evolve Mentorship Program. And then I also know about it, and I know that it's a very great platform for, in fact, I think it's even a good platform because you get to meet a lot of people and not just limited to one.
So many mentors that are doing that. They have like different fields, different sectors, beyond the development. So there are people in technology, there are people in of course, minus project management. There are people in like in general wellness, so many things. Yeah.
Great. I'll look for the link and put it up after this program so that people can check it out. So as we wrap up, I'd like to ask you if you have ever made a mistake, or if you think that you've ever made a career mistake, and that you would advise anybody not to make again. Or if you have, if you feel that you've not, how do I explain? How do I explain? Any career error that you had to course correct, that you advise anybody in this field not to fall into that trap?
For me, I would say be specific, and sometimes in pursuing your career, you have to be selfish. Sometimes that is the truth about it. You have to be. That doesn't mean that you step on people. Of course, never step on anyone to be able to climb the ladder. But you have to be selfish about your own. I have turned down an opportunity because I was trying to be selfless and looking out for the organization's interest, in the sense that, okay, if I take up the opportunity and this other thing happens, I might have turned down. It would be difficult for them to get someone, and that is one thing I wish I didn't do. But because of course that would have taken me maybe on a similar but different trajectory. Yeah, so be selfish sometimes in your own, like, of course, your personal development, be focused on it. Yeah, and be ready for opportunities, and don't just let opportunities pass you, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm inspired myself, and I'm sure that a lot of people are too. a lot of people have. So thank you, Chiamaka, for joining us. Thank you so much. I'll put up the link for the Involve Mentorship Program, because one of the goals for this show is to connect people with mentors. I believe that people need to be mentored, especially young people, young professionals. We really need mentorship. We need guidance. And like you said, it really doesn't have to be the one-on-one mentorship, but to even know who to follow, who to listen to, who to read about, and all of that. I think that is very, very important.
Yeah, reading is important. A lot of us do not take time to read, but there's so much information out there. We just read. It helps. A lot.
So thank you. We've had a very wonderful 30 minutes chat, and I believe that it's been a very good use. I really cannot see anybody asking any question in particular, but I mean, if there is any question, I'm sure Chiamaka will be happy to take one or two questions before she leaves. So I'm waiting. Chiamaka, please just hold on with us for a few seconds. Let's see if anybody asks any question right on this live show. But if there's no question right now, and then I get any question afterwards, I'll forward to you, and then I'll probably post it on my Instagram page. But then again, to say thank you for joining us. Thank you. I can't see any question right now. People are happy to be here. I can see Uju saying cheese to us. Thank you. Lord's presence is glad to be here. Udo Ekaite, thank you. And so thank you everyone for joining. Aisha, thank you. She said this session is going to be exciting. Okay, so thank you. And I believe that it has been exciting. So Chiamaka, thank you. If we have any question after now, I'll throw them to you, and then I'll post your response. Just to say thank you everyone for joining. Hopefully you will find this video on Instagram TV after now, and I'll also see how I can download it and share on other social media platforms. So hopefully in another 2 weeks time we'll have another fantastic guest like Chiamaka that will also tell us about community impact, global development, and all that. Okay, so Uju Okonko says I will learn to start reading. So yes, please do. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Chiamaka. And to say have a good evening, enjoy TGIF, enjoy your weekend. All right, thank you everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm trying to see where to end it. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.